On another subject, Mr. President, today the Senate will start consideration of Judge Merrick Garland's nomination to be Attorney General of the United States. I will be supporting his nomination, but as I said at Garland's hearing before the Judiciary Committee, I have concerns, and I'm here now to repeat those concerns so all of my colleagues can hear them. I hope he will take these concerns seriously, and I will work with members of the Judiciary Committee to conduct thorough oversight of the Department of Justice in order to make sure the department is being run independently and free from political influence. On paper, I don't think anyone would doubt Judge Garland is a good pick to lead the Department of Justice. His credentials are excellent, and he has a distinguished career of public service, including all those long years he's been on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Of all the possibilities to be President Biden's Attorney General, it's hard to come up with a better pick. The top law enforcement officer of the United States must be committed to enforcing the rule of law, and he made that very clear that that's what he was going to do. As our former colleague John Ashcroft said, and he was Attorney General, you know, early in the George W. Bush administration, the Department of Justice is the only cabinet agency whose name is an ideal. It's not the Department of Law Enforcement, but the Department of Justice. Justice is equality under the law. There's one law for all Americans, regardless of race, color, creed, or political affiliation. It's our founding principle that all people are created equal. My hope is that Judge Garland agrees with that principle, and he does, but he's got to be careful to make sure the Justice Department runs accordingly. That's not how it's always been, however. And I don't want to say that's how it's always been under just Democrat presidents. Probably been that way under Republican presidents too. But I don't think it's how it was run more recently during the Obama years. Here's what I don't want to see Judge Garland do. And all of my colleagues at the time heard this. The Attorney General then, Eric Holder, famously said that he was a wingman to the president. I don't want an Attorney General who takes tarmac meetings with President Clinton while she's investigating his wife. I don't want consent decrees that federalize law enforcement and cause murder rates to soar. I don't want a civil rights division trying to stop school choice in Louisiana. I don't want a return to catch and release. I don't want Operation Choke Point, where the Department of Justice decides that gun stores don't get access to banking services. I am concerned that the Justice Department direction, before Judge Garland is even confirmed, these are some of the directions. They changed its litigation positions on a number of high-profile cases in court, including on immigration, affirmative action, Obamacare, and other issues. This is what a very famous Solicitor General, Paul Clements, said, quote, "It has been the long-term position of the Justice Department to defend the constitutionality of statutes whenever reasonable argument can be made." So it appears that our new president and his administration is going to flout that tradition. I just stated how Paul Clements felt about it. I hope that Judge Garland brings that point of view in line and preserves the credibility of the Justice Department. I hope he also preserves his credibility with the Durham investigation. During the Trump administration, I supported the Mueller investigation. I even supported legislation to protect his investigation in 2018 when it looked like President Trump might fire him. That bill got out of committee that I chaired at that time. In 2019, when Bill Barr was before the Judiciary Committee, he was required to commit to not interfere with the Mueller investigation, and I thought that was appropriate. Now we have another special counsel investigation, this one run by John Durham, a respected career prosecutor who is investigating the Crossfire Hurricane investigation in which members of the Obama administration spied on and prosecuted members of the Trump campaign. As a Republican who supported Mueller, I think it is obvious that Judge Garland should have made that same commitment at the hearing about Durham that Bill Barr made when he was before the same committee for confirmation made about Mueller. Judge Garland was given multiple opportunities to do so during his hearing and in written questions for the record, but every time he declined to do so unequivocally. He has implied that he won't interfere with the Durham investigation, and I take him at his word, but it would have been better if he had been very clear about it before a committee. So, further clarification, it's Judge Garland's credibility that's on the line. If Durham is fired for anything other than cause, we'll know why Judge Garland refused to give us a commitment like Barr gave us a commitment when we asked for it. Lastly, I want to make a point about how Judge Garland's nomination went through the Judiciary Committee. Republicans called 2 witnesses, 2 of whom supported Judge Garland's confirmation. Republicans also decided not to do the usual holdover of 1 week of Judge Garland's nomination, allowing him to be reported to the floor a week early. Judge Garland also received bipartisan support in the committee. Now, it happens that none of these courtesies were extended to either of President Trump's nominees to be Attorney General, one of whom was a colleague of ours here in the Senate, and one of whom had already held the job before. I say all this to make a point more to the media than to my colleagues, because the media seemingly refuses to cover these points of bipartisanship that we didn't get from the Democrats in the previous administration. After the last 4 years of unprecedented obstruction of nominees, I think Republicans would have been justified to make this confirmation a drawn-out process. But we did not do that. I don't plan on opposing nominees just because of the person who nominated them, like many of my colleagues unfortunately did in the last 4 years. So even though I still have some concerns, I believe Judge Garland is a good person, particularly a good person for this job, to lead the Department of Justice. So I will vote for his confirmation.